Hello everyone, this is Kaizouwar here, and I wanted to make a little odd video. So we're going to talk about Juusan, aka New 13, after the events of BlazBlue Central Fiction and during the events of BlazBlue Alternative Dark War. I have been thinking about this character a lot recently, and it's mostly on the design of the character that I've been wanting to talk about, because what I see in Alternative Dark War is very different from what Mori originally posted up on his Twitter account. And I definitely wanted to talk about it because it's actually a pretty significant difference between what she originally was going to look like, or what Mori planned for her to look like, to where she looks like in her final product, where she looks slightly different. Not completely and totally different, but there are some small changes here and there. To make a long story short, BlazBlue Alternative Dark War was announced back in 2017, and the game didn't officially materialize into a full game itself until 2021. But the very first image that Mori posted of Juusan was back in 2018, which leaves a 3-year gap from when she was conceptualized all the way to when she made her first appearance in the game. Anyway, back to the very first original concept image that Mori posted of Juusan. This clearly shocked a lot of people, and it shocked me a lot because I was not expecting to see this at all. This is New, who has taken on aspects of Ragnar after events of BlazBlue Central Fiction. She's now wearing his jacket. She has his little shirt collar as like a choker or collar around her neck, which I find really funny. It's like Ragnar's shirt has been shrunken down significantly, which I find really hilarious. She has a new eye patch now, and now she's using only one sword in favor of usual blades. You know, like obviously New has a ton of blades, of course, Murakuma business, but now she's only using one, which I find really cool. It's funny that she's using like one singular blade instead of the multiple she usually uses. She's also seemingly wearing one of his gloves, but it's hard to tell. It's really hard to tell, but in her current image, she's wearing fingerless gloves, but this one doesn't look like it has like any like fingers, like empty fingers, so it looks like a full glove, so that's what it reminds me of. But overall, this is a crazy image of just New in general. Did not expect this at all, but she looked really cool, and I definitely wanted to see what her story was going to be about, especially since Mori just was vague as always as vague as humanly possible, and I've always wanted to see what they were going to do with this character later down the line. So we jump ahead about 2 years to 2020, where Mori drops another image of Juusan, and honestly, this version isn't that different. It's a sketch, so it's not fully completed, but if we put these images side by side, we can definitely tell that there's hardly any difference here. The eye patch, even though it's full on white, we can definitely tell it's about as similar as the one that she originally had. She looks more white and it's not like fully red. I figured Mori would have colored it red if he was going to do so, but it looks more white, which was kind of somewhat foreshadowing what Juusan's eye patch was going to look like in the future. And her sword, while not fully drawn out, is definitely similar to the one that we shown off originally. Juusan's second artwork done by Mori isn't that exactly different. Again, because it's a sketch, it's hard to really tell, but it's not really that different. We just see a little bit more of her, and that's about it. Honestly, there's nothing really to say about this image other than the fact that it exists. But I wanted to bring it up just so we have like a timeline of how these things go. Because again, the first image of Juusan you were posted was back in 2018. Then 2 years later, this is the same design that Mori seemingly was going to go with to show off in BlazBlue Alternative Dark War. Now we arrive in 2021, where New finally made her debut as Juusan in BlazBlue Alternative Dark War, and she looks really different. For one, she's not actually drawn by Mori this time. She's actually drawn by an artist known as Yu Hitaki. Juusan exists now as a full character that we can see in the game, and the design looks really different. For one, she's not wearing Ragnar's jacket on her side anymore. It's actually, covering her whole body like a cloak now. She also has that plating she has when she's a Murakuma unit in her like default form. It reminds me of how New wears her inactive cloak over her, like, what she does when she's not in the Murakuma armor, which I find really kind of cool. It kind of translates from that over to the Ragnar jacket. We can also see more of her full body now. Her sword's hilt is actually different, which I find actually kind of more appropriate in this one, because like New swords don't have a hilt when she summons them and attacks with them, right? The original image had like a hilt bolted on and it looks about standard BlazBlue sword-ish, but then now we see that the hilt is kind of like bolted on there. It's like a regular standard looking sword hilt bolted on there, which actually makes more sense to me. Like, just I don't know why, but it makes more sense to be looking like this than it originally did. It just makes sense that, she probably just jury rigged it together and just use it as a weapon, which I find very funny. Obviously, this version of Juusan's jacket is more torn. Now, we look back in the previous images. Yeah, the jacket, we can't see it in the very first image, but we can't see that the jacket is like all frayed and torn. But when Mori released his sketch, it's hard to tell because it's just a sketch, but it does look kind of torn from my perspective. So now that we get to, base Juusan and we see like, okay, this is what she looks like now. That's pretty cool. Just to see how much torn it is after, she's probably going on her long journey. There's even more differences. There's not too much. She also has a new eye patch. It's not like that really intricate eye patch she had originally. It's pretty much a regular bandaged eye patch, which I remember going back to the second image that Mori posted of Juusan, and even though he didn't color it in, it does look like the shape of the original eye patch that she had, the red-black one, but now this one looks more white. I told myself before that, okay, maybe he'll would have colored it in if it was going to be red, but it's not. It's plain white. So don't know if that was what it was supposed to be when it carried over to current day Juusan. Don't know, but I've always wanted to say that because it just looks like that was originally going to plan. The eye patch was going to change. Sorry everyone, Kaizouwar here after post-editing. Completely forgot that there was another image of Juusan that Mori posted back in 2019, so it wasn't just a gap from, between 2018 and 2020. It was actually, there was one in between. Completely forgot about this image because honestly, it slipped my mind trying to look for remember what images were from this. I completely forgot Mori even drew this. I actually forgot about this image completely, but again, still has the basic designs of Juusan back from 2018. So, this is what we're originally going with. So we're originally where we're going with. So just wanted to talk about it. Just wanted to remind myself that this image existed because I completely forgot. Another thing I failed to mention while I was making this video is that I forgot to talk about the fact that she has that Murakumo cloth that's actually hanging from one of her belts, that little plating that's next to her belt. That plating reminds me of when you look at Ragna's jacket from a certain angle, there's these platings on it near the end of the jacket, and that's what these platings remind me of, and it looks like it's just holding up that Murakumo cloth she has right there. And it's funny to me that her panties are also the same damn color. I get it, her top is the same color, but her panties being the same color too is just kind of pushing it new. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that because I completely forgot to talk about it while I was making the video. But all in all, I love this design. Honestly, it looks so good on New, and it's funny that New, of all people, is Ragna's unofficial successor, right? I like that she's essentially the blood edge in the here and now, which I find incredibly fitting and hilarious. This is one of the coolest BlazBlue designs I've ever seen in my life. It's so good. It's so simple. It's so easy just to think oh yeah, of course New would look this awesome. New's always looked awesome. I think that's the good thing about New. She's always had killer designs, and I think this one's her best yet. I know a lot of people probably miss her Murakumo design, but this one just rocks so hard. It you definitely tell she has a new lease on life, and she's a different person now, and she does have a new lease on life, and she is a better person than she used to be, which is actually really crazy, But that's all I really wanted to talk about. I really like the design. I wanted to make a video about it because at some point I was. Maybe I might do designs for other characters and stuff like that just to see how many phases they went through. But honestly, Mori hasn't done anything too crazy with other characters in regards to BlazBlue Alternative Dark War since, the game really didn't last that long, and the periods between its announcement and its actual launch was 2 years. I'm sorry, not 2 years. I'm talking about 4 years. I said 2 years. But yeah, there's not too much of a difference in between that. So, 4 years, a lot of stuff can change in 4 years, but there's not enough characters to justify making videos about talking about this whole design change stuff. But I really want to make one about Juusan. But without further ado, I'll see y'all next time. Peace out, everyone. Hope you all have a great day. Kaizouwar out.